So welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for today's discussion on the 3D Printing Leadership Forum, featuring advances and breakthroughs in 3D printed medical equipment and device materials. 3D printing has introduced all kinds of new possibilities for developing stronger and more personalized medical equipment, but we've only scratched the surface of what's possible. These past few months have driven the industry to new realms of creativity with the need to quickly deliver medical supplies, devices, and materials. With new lightweight, sturdy materials designed to withstand impact, moisture, and vibration, access to lower cost medical equipment is becoming more widely available thanks to 3D printing. Hi, I'm Sarah Gerke. I've been a journalist dedicated to the 3D printing industry since 2014, and now I own and operate Additive Integrity, an AM-focused editorial services company through which I work with Fabaloo and other clients in media and the industry. It's my pleasure to welcome you to today's webinar, 3D Printing Leadership Forum, Advances and Breakthroughs in 3D Printed Medical Equipment and Device Materials, and to moderate the conversation with Avi Reichental and Ken Kisner. They'll now introduce themselves and touch on some of the key tenets of the partnership between Nexa3D and Henkel. Ken, I'd love to welcome you to introduce yourself.
Thank you, Sarah. This is a great forum. Hello from Tahoe in the Sierra Nevadas. It caught me on my vacation, but I'm very excited to be here. My name is Ken Kisner. I'll give you a little brief history of myself so you understand where I came from. I grew up in a family where my father owned a paint factory. So as a child, I was making batches of paint and cleaning tanks and enjoying the fun of the chemical industry at a very young age. By the late 90s, my brother and I started an inkjet company, predominantly for outdoor durable inkjet inks. And it was a very fast growing industry. We were very fortunate and got about 20% global market share in 5 years, had a factory in China, had offices in Europe, and it was an exciting time. In 2006, we sold the company to INX International, the third largest ink company in the world. And I stayed on there at various roles for 8 more years, largely as the global president of the digital division. In 2013, 2014, I started to get interested in being part of a small company again, pulled a trailer in my backyard, started buying a lab equipment, had a lot of Breaking Bad jokes in the neighborhood. And my wife, I don't think, was super proud, but it was really interesting. We started making really unique industrial inkjet inks along with 3D printing materials. And we got very fortunate, landed some wonderful companies in the trailer, and started to bloom the company into Molecule Corp was what had some unique technologies that made some of the companies interested in working with us. And in last year, we decided to sell the business to Henkel. And so we combined our resources with Henkel's resources and really have a unique team of people that are all extremely passionate about 3D printing. I'm excited to be part of them and looking forward to continuing to push the boundaries of 3D printing going forward. With that, Avi, I'll let you introduce yourself if it's even necessary.
No, thanks, Ken. I really appreciate it. I'll start by adding to your story. Ken and I met just as he moved from the trailer to his new premises, and I happened to be in the neighborhood. We got together, I think, on a Sunday, and you showed me the place, and you told me about what you're trying to do, and I was really impressed. And at the time, I was thinking about starting Nexa and a few other activities. I had just left 3D Systems, and I was really intrigued by what you're doing, Ken, and we formed a nice friendship and now a nice partnership. So it's been an incredible journey, and I've been a fan supporter and now a partner, for the last 4 years, and it's incredible to see what you have done first with Molecule and now as part of Loctite team. A little bit about myself. I'm an immigrant to the US. Came here over 40 years ago from Israel. Kind of worked my way up, you know, from being a janitor in a nursing home in Queens to becoming a maintenance shift mechanic and then an engineer and so forth. Had an incredible fortune to build a great packaging company called Sealed Air. And then in 03, left it to go and try and turn around a little obscure 3D printing company in Valencia that became 3D Systems, and had the great joy to grow it from humble beginnings to become one of the leading forces in the industry. And then at the end of 2015, I left 3D printing and thought that maybe I'll just become a passive investor in a few companies, but I discovered that my true passion is still remains to build and to create and to make and to get to be part of this incredible industry again. And so in the last 4 years, I formed quite a few 3D printing companies here in Ventura, and also invested in a few others and created an umbrella organization called Exponential Works that collides all these companies together. And through that, I learned that to really be relevant and to matter in this fourth generation of 3D printing, one needs to form uncommon partnerships and collaborations. And here we are today talking with one of our best partners, with Henkel. So it's really good to be here. I'm really grateful for everybody that is part of our community, and especially for you, Ken. You've been a super supporter and a real contributor, so thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, thank you both for your introductions. And now, for everyone else who's with us today, you're part of this conversation too, so we'd like to welcome you. We'll be chatting today with Avi and Ken about the latest advances in 3D printed medical equipment and device materials. The conversation today is a very timely one, as Nexa3D and Henkel have recently announced the commercial availability of XMed 412, a polypropylene-like material that is ideal for manufacturing a variety of biocompatible medical and wearable devices. It's manufactured by Henkel and entirely based on their Loctite Med 412 material, and is covered by all of those associated clearances, tests, and certifications. The conversation we're about to start in will be about 45 minutes long, and we do want it to be a conversation. Please feel free to submit questions at any point through the Q&A form you see at the bottom of your screens, right down there. Any point during the conversation, I'll be watching it throughout. We'll be dedicating some time at the end of Avi and Ken's chat to really dive specifically into all of those questions. But I'll also be watching it throughout the conversation. And if you bring up a point that really touches on where Avi or Ken are in their chat, we'll call on it immediately so we can make sure we get a great depth of discussion today. When we get to the Q&A toward the end, we will do our best to get through as many of your questions as we can. We might not be able to tackle all of them, but we will definitely do our best to address all of the major issues that you all bring up. So with that all housekeeping out of the way, let's really get into this with Ken, with Avi. And you both touched on already some of the history between yourselves and your companies. So I'd love to really get started with where you think each of your companies has contributed individually to extend and expand the reach of medical 3D printed. Nexa3D's a technology well suited for medical. Henkel features a lot of operational readiness. So wherever you guys want to get started talking about your companies in the medical field.
Sure, I can jump in if you'd like, Avi. One of the things that makes Molecule and now Henkel Loctite unique is we consider ourselves a data company, and we have a hyper focus on collecting clean, normalized data and making decisions that are leveraged off that data. And so we've been working on medical products with a key partner in dental, as well as some other customized material. And we've collected an enormous amount of data on what allows a product to pass cytotoxicity or biocompatibility. And so we're able to leverage this 4 years worth of effort into these products. Additionally, about 6 months ago, maybe 8 months ago, we made a decision to really go 100% into medical. So we have a team of really highly qualified people in Henkel to focus on this, and we're working on operational readiness. And operational readiness for us is to get ISO 1345 approved at both of our facilities, our R&D facility and our operations facility. And this is, there's been a few small delays because of COVID-19, but we fully expect to be certified by the end of the year. And this will help us additionally be one of the leaders in the industry in medical. And so I think that commitment to the medical industry, but also medical devices, is critical. And Avi, maybe you can describe some of the things that your company has done to prepare to be involved in this industry.
No, absolutely, Ken. And I have to add that the data analytics and the intelligence that Molecule and now Henkel brings to bear in the ability to down select and optimize material performance and compatibility and certification is really unlocking significant capabilities that, quite frankly, were not available previously. And then to be able to add to that very unique mechanical properties that make these materials suitable as functional materials above and beyond just the field of medical device, because as you know, there are many consumer type products there that come into intimate contact with our skin and require the same level of biocompatibility, and we'll talk about it a little bit later, is quite impressive. What attracted Nexa3D to Henkel is that, we believe that our format is particularly suited to unleash speed, productivity, and performance, and to do it within workflows that could guarantee the outcome again and again and again. Because for Nexa3D, it's all about breaking the speed and productivity barriers that can scale manufacturing, but scale it in a way that is consistent from build to build, machine to machine. And the way that we're working with Henkel to qualify and to tailor the performance of the material, but not just that, but to basically create an approved, tested, and scalable workflow, I think is quite unique for the industry. And I think it lays a very strong foundation for assured certification and assured outcome of millions of parts down the path.
I think that's a really good point. I mean, you're bringing up kind of validated workflows, and one of the nice ways that we're working together, one of the important ways, is there's not a clean line between our two companies. There's this overlap of knowledge that we're leveraging, and specifically our knowledge of machinery to some extent, or your expertise, and your knowledge of materials to some extent, which is our expertise, but more importantly, that overlap to assure consistent quality of a printed part for a medical device, which that's an important statement. It's for a medical device. It's going to be used by somebody for potentially a very important use, like a surgical guide or something that's incredibly important to be functional and meet all the standards necessary. And the interesting thing about Nexa and Loctite is this has been a very comfortable relationship with our engineers at both companies working together in this, just almost like an extension of each other's company rather than two different companies operate independently. And so that workflow that makes us both feel comfortable that at the end is going to give a reproducible medical device.
When we're talking about reproducible medical devices and everything that especially this partnership is bringing to the table, why don't we take kind of a step back and look at overall why people would be wanting to 3D print for medical devices? What are the new possibilities? What benefits does 3D printing, especially in these great reproducible, safe, certified ways, what does that bring to the medical field? Ken, why don't you speak to that? You're getting onto that track a bit right now.
Yeah, one of the unique things about the human body is everybody's body is different. And so it is the perfect application to make mass-produced, customized materials. And so whether it's a hearing aid that everybody's ear is a little bit different and making 3 or 4 sizes to fit everybody is just not as comfortable or as functional, but also, you know, whether it's an artificial limb or an artificial, you know, hand or something to this, we can make it truly functional. And then with, let's say a surgical guide, again, everybody's anatomy is different. So 3D printing is just incredibly well suited for medical devices because of this need for mass customization.
Yeah, I fully agree with you, Ken. And Sarah, to your point, I think that medical devices, including a variety of orthotic devices, hearing aids, dental restorations, and lots of surgical guides, have been validated now for nearly 15 years. And I would say that it's one of the fastest growing fields for scalable application of 3D printing. What we have seen during COVID is that we had the opportunity to really showcase the flexibility and agility, and very quickly we're able to pivot into other applications, you know, such as nasal swabs for coronavirus testing, such as mission critical ventilator valves and splitters and other devices. But in the main, you have to think that in every part of the body, we're going increasingly more into digitized and planned procedures, you know, which means that if you undergo an orthopedic restoration of some sort, a hip or a knee replacement, it's more likely than not that today your surgeon is going to plan the procedure in advance, and he or she will get their guides and jigs and fixtures printed in advance so that they can assure with much more precision and guidance the outcome of the procedure. And this is where the combination of validated workflows, validated materials that are certified and approved, speed and scale play very well together. And that's at the heart of what Henkel Loctite and Nexa3D are doing.
We did have a question come in that is pretty relevant to right here where we are, about the standard of reproducibility you've achieved with this material. RJ would like to know how you measure that standard of reproducibility.
I can explain how we do it at our laboratory. So we have a device, a digital file of a device, and then we will print it, and in its green state and its post-cure state, we will do a very high accuracy scan of that, lay it over, and we can see what percentage of that file is within X tolerance. And so we are constantly coming up with new files that we want to scan to check in different types of shrinkage. or inaccuracy, which is likely due to some type of shrinkage of the part during the cure state. And this product is incredibly accurate due to its high green strength or high cure off the printer, and some of its attributes of kind of a low cross-link density also considerably helps the accuracy. So this is a very accurate product, and that's how we measure it at our facility.
Yeah, and I can add to that. We take all of the guidance from Ken and his team, and then we build it into the printing process, starting with how we code instructions into each and every slice of what we print, which is a unique way to assure that, continuing with data collection and feedback at each slice that is being built, and then statistic sampling of the finished parts, both in the green state and in the recure state, to make sure that we have that replication. So it's really a very integrated way to make sure that we can scale the same validated workflows that Ken and his team develop in their labs.
Great. And when it's coming to these materials, kind of in general, and obviously the new one in particular, what advantages are we seeing these 3D printed materials offer beyond what had been previously capable with traditional manufacturing and existing materials?
Yeah, I mean, look, to start with, here we have the opportunity to make something that's bespoke and made for you, right? I mean, there aren't two people that are created alike. We're all unique creatures, and we have unique shapes, and the opportunity to mass customize and create meaningful and sometimes even life-enhancing, if not life-saving devices is very important. Add to that the functionality and long-term utility of the materials that Ken and his team can blend and formulate, and the speed and scale in which Nexa3D can deliver them. And now you have a relevant and pertinent solution that can get into the urgent and compressed life cycle in the medical field for some of those treatments. Now, in other fields, it's more about comfort. So Ken mentioned hearing aids. Obviously, with in-the-ear hearing aids, fit is one of the most mission critical attributes. But also simple things like, you know, what if you lose your hearing aid? Do you want to go to the audiologist and get remeasured all over again? No, you already have it all as a digital file, and you can reproduce it instantly. And we can carry that example, obviously, to other types of treatments.
Great. Avi, let's build on that a little bit. You've been in this industry for quite a while now. How would you say you've seen the use of 3D printing evolving when it comes to producing medical equipment and medical devices, kind of getting us to where we are now?
Yeah,
we'll go next.
Yeah, Sarah, I think that in my now, I don't know, 17 year in the industry, it has grown exponentially. I remember when we started back in the day to place all their SLA systems, Vipers, you know, into the hearing aid industry, and it transformed the hearing aid industry within a couple of years to full-on digital fabrication. It was very slow and it was very complex, but the business case was clear, and there was no going back. You know, companies like Siemens kind of led the effort, but within a couple of years, the whole industry switched. if you look at the digitization of dentistry, there is no going back. I mean, increasingly, you see both at the lab and the clinic level that dentistry is fully digitized. And so it only stands to reason that the outputs will be digitally manufactured. If you look at orthodontics, the same thing. Invisalign, I worked with Invisalign, you know, from the early days of the company, and they have been one of the pioneers that could illuminate the complete workflow and the path from pre-processing to post-processing and have a complete seamless digital thread before we knew how to spell the digital thread. And of course, in partnership with medical modeling back in the day, before we acquired them, we worked to develop medical models and surgical guides, and later on, even implants. And it's a field that I think accelerated adoption during COVID, and there is no question in my mind that it's poised to continue to grow exponentially.
Then when we move, today we're obviously seeing much more complex capabilities possible, and we're also seeing some more of those benefits of 3D printing we've been talking about for so many years come to fruition. And as you both touched on, 2020 has been kind of a terrible but valid proof point for 3D printing in fast response, especially when it comes to medical applications. So Avi, how would you say you've seen Nexa3D's technology specifically showing its value in medical 3D printing? I know you've a lot with nasopharyngeal testing swabs and some other really 2020 specific sort of uses.
Yeah, I think that for Nexa3D, which is a company that is kind of coming into the scene as a young disruptor without legacy products and legacy systems, 2020 was a really strong validation that the two areas that we focused on, which is speed and productivity with accompanying performance, really matters. Because what we learned in the last now almost 6 months is that traditional supply chains are very long, very complex, and could break down with unforeseen and unintended interruptions in a way that can bring full industries down to their knees. And the fact that we could respond almost overnight, I mean, we set up a flexible factory in less than a week and stood it up first to produce PPEs and then to produce other mission critical parts and nasal swabs and so forth. The agility, the resiliency, the response speed, coupled with productivity and performance, I think is what this industry is hungry for, and I think that's what the world is hungry for. One of the areas that historically held 3D printing back was high impact, durable, and medical materials. Ken and his team have done an amazing job of bringing orders of magnitude improvement to material performance and also the repeatability of printing. And Nexa3D, in parallel, similarly, I think, is bringing orders of magnitude improvement in speed, productivity, and scale. And these are the missing ingredients that we believe will expand adoption during and post-COVID. But I'd love to hear what Ken has to say about this.
Yeah, I think that this specific time with COVID response challenged the whole industry. And we had a bunch of really interesting things going on where competitors were working together to solve problems and sharing openly, almost like open source software type relationships within the industry. And that was a really, I think, accentuated what our industry can get done in a very short amount of time, but also pushed us all to bring things to market very rapidly. And specifically in this case with XMed 412, this product, we were going through a phenomenal amount of testing. We partnered with Beth Israel out of Harvard. We submitted through several partners samples. They approved out of 123 samples, they approved 4, and 3 of them were leveraging Med 412 as finished solutions, finished workflows. And it showed our ability to make a robust product, but also work with the industry to bring solutions as we've done with Nexa. And the Med 412 specifically is just a very tough product. It has over 140% elongation for a fairly rigid product. And so that toughness, you could take a device and huck it against the ground, it will bounce, it doesn't chip. It's an incredibly tough, like polypropylene product. And having that with all of our knowledge for sterilization, and we've approved, I think, 4 or 5 different sterilization methods with this product to get either single-use sterilization or in some cases multiple-use sterilization for certain applications with this product. And so I think that gives it, shows you its robustness and also shows you our ability to leverage this data that we've collected over years on products similar to this. So yeah, I think that specifically this product has done really interesting things in the industry, from splitters, ventilator splitters and respirator components, and as a plastic part to the nasal swab application. I think it's been a really robust product, and we continue to learn from it as well.
Great. And,
I have to say, Sarah and Ken, that I've seen lots of materials in my journey in 3D printing. I'm really impressed by the mechanical properties of the XMed 412. I mean, it's even if you set aside all of the unique medical attributes, it's just an outstanding material to work with.
Perfect. And you're both actually right on with a question that Dinesh has just asked about what other applications this might be suited for. A lot of people are getting the impression that a lot of medical device manufacturing is leaning towards metals and metal 3D printing. So what are we seeing more on this polymer side? Ken, you mentioned some of the splitters and other COVID-specific devices we've been seeing a lot of in the last couple of months, but outside of a pandemic, where else might we see this material be popping up?
Yeah, we kind of look at this in 4 categories from a regulatory perspective. We have our basic biocompatibility, which you might want to have basic biocompatibility for, nose guards on your glasses. It's touching the skin, and we want to make sure it's skin safe. Then we have class 1 medical devices, which may come in contact for short term. Then we have class 2 medical devices, which would be something that's more long-term use, repeated use. And then we have class 3 medical devices, which are something that would be implanted in the body for long-term, like a heart stent or some type of device that's permanent. And we avoid, as a business, we avoid class 3 medical devices as a Hinkle policy. So we focus on basic biocompatibility, class 1 and class 2 products. Within those categories, there's a bunch of different applications. So orthotics are one component. Dental, this product is not intended for dental. There'll be other products coming for the dental industry specifically. And then a variety of bionics or artificial limbs, and then other devices in that category. And then there's the audiology around the ear opportunities that's vast. And maybe Avi, you could touch on several others.
I think the only thing that you didn't mention, Ken, is some other kind of athletic wearables, scuba and diving gear, things like that, that also lend themselves extremely well, I think, for this material from what we've seen so far.
Outside of the specific material, which is obviously going to have some pretty major implications in the work that both of your companies are doing, what do you see this kind of indicating as a larger trend? Are we going to be seeing more medical specific materials popping up? How do you see this going kind of longer term?
Yeah, so regulatory plays a part in that decision. We take a product and we specifically get it approved for certain indications for use, and that's a FDA term. And so we go through a registration process. Even as a class 1 medical device, we go through a registration process with the FDA. With a class 2 medical device, it's a much more detailed process that we go, and that's for each indication for use, which is a very specific use case for that product. And so we are pushing a couple general products out that we think have fairly wide applicability into the medical industry, and we're going to approve it for a variety of indications of use. And then we're going to have custom products that for very specific indications of use that we may have to fine tune for color. Maybe it needs a customized color for that use, or we may trade off modulus for elongation. So a higher modulus or a stiffer product with a slightly reduced elongation. Those types of trade-offs we can customize and get approved for specific indications of use. And so we do expect that that need as the industry matures.
Great. As the industry matures and Henkel and Nexa3D partnership continues to move, I imagine we'll be seeing quite a lot more coming out, and we might also see kind of what we often observe when it comes to medical 3D printing, as you've both mentioned. Hearing aids and orthodontic aligners are two of the fastest adopters of 3D printing for that personalization benefit, but because it starts up in something so highly regulated, we're seeing it kind of come down to less regulated industries. So for example, how might you see consumer products benefiting from this medical background when you've developed products that are safe to the touch, like you mentioned for glasses and things like that?
Yeah, I think that the consumer industry and the medical industry have a strong overlap because both of them require that safety factor of touch. And so these products that we're learning from for the medical, which have very stringent regulatory requirements and testing that we do, we're leveraging that across all of our products, that knowledge. And so, yeah, I think that our consumer line of products that we're looking at with Avi and his team will benefit tremendously from this, and we will be looking at getting basic biocompatibility to assure that the customers understand that through a specific workflow, this product can be safe to use.
Yeah, there is no question in my mind that the impact on the future of bespoke consumer products that come into intimate contact with your face, around your ear, on your wrists, and other parts of your body, whether for lifestyle enhancement or athletic performance or some kind of a leisure activity, will be impacted by the availability of materials that are safe for periodic or long-term intimate contact, with your skin or part of your body. And this is an area that I think has been looked at in the past. We just didn't have the unique combination of really material properties coupled with the biocompatibility and the required workflows to assure that level of safety for consumer applications. And my sense is that the consumer opportunities over meaningful periods will probably dwarf, what is possible to do just in the medical field.
Great, and you've both talked as well about how closely you and your teams have been working together and the importance of this partnership, and especially the importance of collaboration in the madness of, living during a pandemic. Can you talk a little bit more about the importance of collaboration pushing forward 3D printing, especially when it comes to medical? We've obviously got a very highly regulated workflow, highly regulated industry we're working with. Why is it so important that companies like yours continue to work so closely together?
Yeah, I can start with that, Avi. I think the whole process of a material and the mechanical and servicing a secondary customer from us, our joint customer, it is important that we work incredibly closely to give a full solution to that customer. And where we have unique advantages is Hinkle focuses 100% on materials. That's our minute-to-minute, day-to-day, 100% focus. We have deep expertise there that we're getting by that intense focus. And Nexa has that same intense focus on the software and mechanical side of delivering consistent, reliable, medical device products. And our ability to work together gives the best of both worlds to the final customer with that intense focus that we each have in our own domain. So I think that piece of it is what is where the magic is in delivering these solutions, along with these customers that come up with unique needs. And I was talking to someone recently that wants to make a medical device that's a handle. So surgeons have a customized handle for to reduce the chance of some type of injury out of repetitive use. And this something I had never thought about before, but something important, and it needs to get sterilized often. And so these types of unique use cases I think are important for medical device, and far beyond what we can even maybe dream of. This industry is very creative.
Yeah, I'll add to that. I agree 100%, Ken, with what you said. That the combination of Henkel's focus and deep knowledge and expertise in materials, coupled with Nexa's focus on software and high-speed printing and process and applications, really brings the best of the two companies' strengths to deliver an end-to-end solution. The other thing that I learned in the last 17 years is that it's very, very difficult for one company, large or small, to try to solve for all of it on their own. I've tried, and while I was at 3D Systems, we have tried to do it all, with a great deal of success, but not with the resounding scale and the ability to give the customers at the end of the day the complete end-to-end solution in a way that was timely, relevant, and scalable. The world is moving a lot faster than we think, much faster than we think. And to be able to seize on these opportunities and to make an impact in the here and now when demand is here, and to continue to move the industry forward, it will take partnerships and collaborations in many areas. And I don't think it's a function of scale or deep pockets or resources. It's a function of combined expertise and the ability to really collaborate as a team. And I think that what is unique about our collaboration, and Ken, you touched on it in the very beginning, is that we work as if we're one company. We we have very complementary overlap. We don't have any of the ordinary boundaries or restrictions, and we encourage our teams to collaborate seamlessly, because we understand that in success, it's the seamless solution that's going to carry the day.
Perfect. Okay. And with that, I think we'll turn over to a little bit of the Q&A while we've got just a few minutes here before we begin to wrap things up. So, Ken, this one to you from RJ, who wants to know, what do you think was lacking from the available materials that caused you to develop this product? Most of the mechanical properties are there, but which was the most difficult to get right?
Yeah, good question. In general, I can make it kind of simplified. In general, on the plastic side, there's just a lack of toughness or a lack of elongation given certain modulus. And so one of the things we put intense effort in is optimizing elongation given a certain modulus. And so that gives it that toughness. And we're always trying to get tougher and tougher and tougher products. So once we reach polypropylene, we're going for ABS, and then we're going for polycarbonate. And so those needs out there, the needs of the industry are the same as in the thermoplastics, because they've been working with them since the 50s. And so we, as with thermosets, are trying to deliver those same properties. So we have a long path ahead of us to continue to make more and more and more robust products. And that's with, at the same time, we have to balance a lot of other things. So outdoor durability, water absorption, making sure that in a humid environment, it has the same properties that in a dry environment. And we've been working on all those things too. So this product has a really kind of beautiful balance of low water absorption and good elongation. And it has a HDT, right about body temperature, which is important and unique for this product. So it slightly softens right at 37C, which makes it even more comfortable to wear or touch the body with that slight softening as a plastic. And then I could say on the elastomers, we're working on medical elastomers. We got a little ways to go. We're making some phenomenal progress. And in the elastomer side, similarly, we need high tear resistance and faster resilience or rebound rate. So those are the areas we focus on elastomers, similar to the toughness we focus on with plastic.
And then one other concern we're seeing pop up with resin 3D printing is how to make it more sustainable. Recycling could be seen as a challenge, I suppose, says Dinesh. And I know that's something both Henkel has thought about for a long time, and Avi, I'm sure you've definitely thought about this as well.
Yeah, recyclability is a challenge for this industry, but also very, very important. And Henkel has a huge emphasis, being that Henkel is still owned after 144 years by the Henkel family. So one of the things we have as a company is we represent family members, and we have to take that incredibly seriously. And this is a very a proactive family that wants to see us meet very challenging but important sustainability and environmental within our company. And so it's a conversation at any main meeting we have at Henkel. One of those line items during that is sustainability, or how are we doing with this. We have come up with a TerraCycle box that we can place at a customer site. They can put the empty bottles as well as the printed parts that aren't needed into this, and it goes through a recycling program. And exactly how that gets recycled, it depends on region, but also on the product. And so we help customers manage that And it's a really exciting program that we've just kind of kicked off in the last 6 months or a year. And that's our first step into making our waste streams more environmentally safe.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, Sarah and Ken, I like to add that for Nexa3D sustainability and even taking it a step further, the whole circular economy topic is top of mind. We are looking at it throughout the process from, can we help our customers lightweight their designs and use a little bit less material to begin with? Can we orient and optimize support generation and use fewer supports so that the yield of the material that's being used is higher? And we will have some announcements around that in the coming months, as we're rolling out some new software that will help with those optimizations. Can we begin to look at more sustainable post-processing capabilities? And as you know, we just announced our X-Clean material, which was also born out of COVID necessities, because we ran out of traditional IPA and other materials. And Ken, we would love to partner with you and with Henkel to also see if we can collectively make greater impact on a whole circular economy capability, because I think that it's one of the most important objectives for the whole industry, and certainly for our partnership.
Yeah, I think that's yes, let's do that. Let's kick off that. I think that'd be a great project for us. One of the things we have to remember is that 3D printing is naturally more sustainable. It's additive. It's not subtractive. We're not carving away something that's a waste stream. And in general, it's a more efficient solution where we can put in complex matrices inside of a part and use less material. Not only does that save the customer money, but it's environmental. So there's a lot of natural things within 3D printing that make it advantageous over other processes that have historically been used. But nonetheless, we have to keep doing better.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Looks like we've got time for just 2 more quick questions while we wrap up. So Ken, we've got another one to clarify for Laura. She says, so Henkel is the manufacturer then of a variety of medical devices such as aligners and hearing aids, and it is a distribution business model. I'm a bit confused because the FDA does not have a clearance pathway for a material for general use.
Right. So you broke up a little bit, but I think I understood the question. Yes, we're a materials company. We go through and work with the FDA in each of their different pillars, which let's say orthotics would be in a different group in the FDA than audiology. So we work with each of those and we clear it for very specific indications for use. And then as we add those indications of use to this specific product, this general product, then it can be used for that purpose. And so it's going to be a ongoing, growing number of indications of use that this product is approved for.
All right, perfect, thank you. And to fully wrap up today's conversation, we've got one last great question from Carlos, who says, for those small businesses that don't possess either expertise similar to Henkel's or Nexa3D's, is there a consultant from each company we can refer to? So basically, if people want access to this, who should they turn to?
Yeah, great question. I can answer from our side. We have what we call our tech support group, and they can support customers' needs on how to use our product. We also have deep documentation on our information for use that tells you exactly how to produce this along with the workflow with Nexa. But we have a tech support team very qualified tech support team that assists customers in these circumstances.
Yes, and similarly, we have a customer success team that would love to hear from anybody. That includes great application engineers and process experts that can help look at a complete application all the way from the design optimization through an implementation. And we work very closely with Henkel and lean on Ken's and his team's expertise to make sure that applications succeed. And by the way, that goes well beyond just the medical device field. Henkel Loctite and Nexa3D are commercializing other industrial grade products, and the same applies to both.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you both so much. So one last thing to let everyone with us today know about, the next Nexa3D webinar is next Thursday, August 13th. It will be at the same time, 1:30 p.m. Eastern, that's 10:30 a.m. Pacific. There's a link in the webinar chat to register right now. You can see the flyer for it, some of the information. It's the 3D Printing Leadership Forum X-Clean, Nexa3D's new effective and eco-friendly cleaning solvent that Avi mentioned. When necessity breeds invention, we find ourselves discovering game-changing products and services. When PPE production increased due to COVID-19, additive manufacturing stepped up to help meet demand, but the need for isopropyl alcohol, IPA, couldn't be met, threatening to bring Nexa3D's operations to a halt. With no suitable alternatives on the market and the determination to continue production, the company developed X-Clean, the eco-friendly, effective cleaning solvent for all resin-based 3D printers. We hope you'll be able to join Avi and Nexa3D's Head of Customer Success, Brent Zollinger, next Thursday, August 13th at 1:30 p.m. Eastern, 10:30 a.m. Pacific. You can register right now at the link posted in the webinar chat. Thank you again so much, Avi and Ken, for your insights today, and to all of the attendees who joined us and those who contributed questions and added to the conversation. A recording of this webinar will be available in the near future. Thank you all so much for joining us today. It has, as always, been a great pleasure to join you all today. Thanks and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Avi.
Thank you, Ken. Enjoy the rest of your vacation, pal.
All right, will do. Take care.
Okay, bye.